Mile 5, Spartan Super. I'm feeling strong. And then my right calf locks up. Then my left one locks up. Then suddenly both calves are locked up and just cramping. I'm about eight months into training for a Spartan Ultra, standing at a race course that is just supposed to be a practice race, and I can barely walk. I'm pissed. Here's what led up to that moment and what I did about it. I'll get to how I finished, but first, you need to know what 8 months of building to that race actually looked like. For reference, the Spartan Ultra is about 31 miles, 60 obstacles. My first one, a little over a month from now. The four areas of focus that made or broke this training: running, strength, nutrition, and recovery. I'll walk through all of them, what worked, what broke me, and what I'd do differently. First, let's start with running. My first training run was 2 miles, and it was slow. And guess what? It wrecked me. Man, I mean, it planted enough doubt in my head that I almost walked away from this whole thing before it even started, right? The goal. I'm 42, right? So my body was going to fight back, and it did. As I added distance as the weeks went on, I added distance every 2 weeks. First, the knees went first, then my foot, then my calves, we already talked about that, then my hips. At some point, every part of my legs filed a complaint. But I expected that. Small injuries are the cost of entry for this kind of training, so I kept on going. Last week, 17 miles. Do I love running? Nah. But it's not about what I love, it's about what the goal requires. One thing I underestimated for sure was the hills. I'm starting to realize hill work is definitely a big gap in my prep. But we have since made adjustments there, and we're getting a little stronger with that. Next, let's talk about strength training. Early on, I was lifting heavy and as often as I could, focused on shoulders for those monkey bars and arms for those bucket carries and those sandbag carries. The first real setback was kind of the forearms and the elbows. I was adding weight way too fast, and my tendons couldn't keep up. Lesson learned: heavier isn't always better, and tendons don't adapt as fast as muscles. So I also had to rethink my whole approach. I was training like someone trying to build mass, and that was not my goal. My goal it was or is functional strength, right? Carrying a bucket up a hill, hanging from a bar, keep moving. Right? Once I made that shift, training got a lot more efficient. I had to learn there was a big difference between building muscle and building strength. Now, my biggest miss, definitely the legs, not getting them stronger. I told myself running was my leg day, right? It's not. Miles piled up, the strength matters. I wish I had prioritized leg strength from month one instead of kind of treating them as an optional exercise. The third area of focus is nutrition. This was the hardest one. Not because the information is complicated, it's not, but because I'm a picky eater who genuinely loves cookies and cupcakes. That's not ideal when you're training for a 31-mile race. So I had to change, not just add a salad here and there, actually overhaul what I was actually eating day by day. Three things I kind of focused on with nutrition. One was the protein. Training breaks your body down. You can't rebuild without it. I had to get consistent about hitting my protein targets every day, and not just on training days. So I was aiming between 150 to 180 grams of protein per day. This became a priority for me. So skipping meals no longer was an option. Carbs and fats. You hear carbs are the enemy when you're trying to lose weight, and I had to learn I wasn't trying to lose weight. I needed that fuel for my body. Carbs are not the enemy when you're logging 10 plus miles. That was a mental shift I had to make. Running long distances burns through fuel fast. I learned that the hard way. That underfueling makes everything worse. Your runs suffer, your recovery suffer, your mood suffers. Third was water and electrolytes. Especially on long runs, I started carrying gels and drinking electrolytes, and it made a real difference. Leading up to that practice race, I got complacent. I don't know if my water intake the day before was adequate. File that away for lesson learned, right? I'm still not perfect at nutrition. I still want those cupcakes, and I still do not like eating salads. But for the most part, I have it locked in, for at least for what works for me. The last area of focus is recovery. The most underrated of them all is recovery. Recovery was the first thing I kept treating like optional. It's not optional. I learned that the hard way. Once again, at 42, my body doesn't bounce back like it did at 25. So after a 12-mile run or a heavy leg day, I need actual recovery time, not just like, oh, I'll sleep a little bit. Proper intentional recovery. And here's what that looks like for me. Sleep first. I had a hard rule. In bed by 10 p.m. I'm usually up by between 5 and 6 o'clock most days. So that's 7 hours if I get up at 5. Not perfect, but it's what the schedule allows. When I started honoring that rule consistently, I noticed the difference within 2 weeks. Training felt harder when I broke it every single time. Stretching. I added a night stretching routine. Nothing fancy, 10 or 15 minutes. Hip flexors, hamstrings, calves, especially calves. You'll understand why that matters in a minute. Active recovery. The day after a long run, I'm not just sitting on the couch. I get on the stationary bike, low resistance, slow pace, about 20-30 minutes. It fleshes the legs out, keeps things moving without adding too much load. It felt pointless at first, but it's not. Icing. This one made the biggest difference. After every single run, I ice my knees. Every time. No exceptions. Early in training, I was skipping it. When I felt fine, that was a mistake. By the time something hurts, you're already behind. So ice them before your knees begin to complain to you. The honest truth about recovery is that you can train hard, eat right, and still sabotage yourself if you're not sleeping and recovering correctly. The training breaks you down. Recovery is what builds you back up. Skip it, and you're accumulating damage. I know that now. Don't know if I fully respected that at mile 5 during the race. So back to mile 5, the Spartan Super. It happened at the sandbag carry. I pick up the sandbag, shift my weight, and my right calf seizes immediately. I'm standing there holding a sandbag, 60 pounds, trying not to show that I'm in trouble. Then the left calf goes. Then it starts kind of trading off. Right calf, left calf, right calf, left calf. Every step with this bag on my back. I finished the carry, put the sandbag down, ate a gel, and I just kept moving slowly. No heroics, just shuffling forward, trying to keep the blood moving until the cramps loosened up. A few minutes later, they did. I finished the race, but that weighed heavy on my mind. If I can't get through 6 miles with no cramps, how can I get through 5 times that amount? Honest answer is it's not one thing. It's a few things that I've been ignoring. First, the leg training gap. I already told you about that. I wasn't working my calves the way I need to. That's a months-long deficit showing up at the worst possible time. Second, surface. I run on roads. Pavement, solid, flat, predictable grounds. Spartan races are on grass, mud, hills, uneven terrain. Your stabilizer muscles work completely different on uneven grounds. Mine weren't ready. So a road run and a trail run are not the same workout. I treated them like they were. And the easiest one, I have to make sure that the day before I am hydrating with electrolytes. Cannot miss that step. It's way too easy. So here's what changed after that race. I added mandatory leg day, no exceptions, every week. Calves get trained twice a week now. And every run has a section of grass or uneven ground now, non-negotiable. Here's the thing. The Spartan Ultra is 6 weeks away, 31 miles, 60 obstacles. I don't get a do-over on the prep. The work I've done over the last 10 months is what I'm bringing to the start line. I don't know how race day is going to go. I can't promise you some highlight reel finish. What I can tell you is I identified what broke me, I fixed it, and I'm going back. That's the whole point of this channel. It's not about motivation. It's not about hype. You find out what's broken, you fix it, you keep going. I'll see you on the other side of the Ultra. If you're training for something hard and you want to follow the rest of this build, subscribe. I'll have the rest of the day up after the Ultra.